Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Wednesday video of us, the British Fist. Comprising of me, Mr. Parkin, but more importantly, the guy sitting next to me, he knows all about wrestling. It's the N to the J to the J to the N. It's NJ. What's up? N to the J, yeah. Subscribe up above, of course. Like this video and get your comments down below on this video.
Please contact us in the links in the description box below.
And donate. No, I'm joking. We're not e-begging. Right, today what we're going to be doing... Shut up, we don't want money. We do this for free, to entertain. Anyway, the price we get is to entertain the people. Isn't that alright?
Yeah.
Alright then, let's stop fucking around and start this video. Okay. Right, today what we're going to be talking about in our Topical Wednesday video is we're going to be talking about ways we feel TNA, Total Non-Stop Action, Impact Wrestling can improve. You know, we've got about 10 to 15 points there that me and NJ have comprised, so it might be a long video, so you might want to get some popcorn and Coke and, be patient. So, where are we going to start off with first? Improving TNA. What's the top thing on the list?
Getting out of that damn impact zone.
Yes, and you know what? When you watch TNA Impact wrestling in that impact zone, there's no wrestling fans there. It's all tourists, and there's no natural crowd noise, and that pisses me off when they have to can in so much fucking heat. There's no natural crowd noise. It just doesn't have the right feeling of a show, does it?
No, it doesn't. Go with the guy with the mask on. Go with him.
No, because it would just be people not saying anything, and it would just be all canned.
Not exciting. And we saw it previously. There was a non-impact zone TNA, and you saw how great the crowd was, the lighting was, the effect was, the feeling was awesome.
So getting out of that impact zone, I think, is essential if TNA wants to sort of expand their product, especially if they want to expand their product to bigger areas like the UK or even internationally. I know really they're only focusing in the northern hemisphere, I think, in terms of their shows, but it's a great way if they want to do that to expand their product so more people can know about it as well, isn't it? So it'd have advantages in that sort of sense too.
True, we'll go
give it a better feel.
You would.
Yeah. Any more you want to talk about? Any more about the impact zone?
No, we covered it pretty nicely there.
Yeah. Okay then. One thing we think TNA could do a bit more. I personally think that TNA could do more advertising and product enhancement. You know what I mean? Like, let people know about your product. Let people know about your pay-per-views. Let people, give your wrestlers time on radio shows and stuff. I don't think TNA do too much of that, really.
Get like a newspaper around posting letters to the letterbox saying, "Watch TNA, watch TNA, watch TNA." Post the letterbox all over around the world.
I think that is a very elaborate version of what I'm talking about here.
Oh,
but just like simple TV adverts, On the UK, we don't get too many TNA adverts. That's that's a big issue for us, And we have to watch shows on streams.
And on the streams, you get to see there's this auto repair thing. You get to see all the TNA wrestlers in if we had them appear in the UK, maybe it'll say, "Oh, those guys are on TNA. Oh, I'm going to watch it and find out." But
because you see WWE's products spread around a lot of places, like the website, the internet, and stuff, and adverts as well, and films. So you don't see too much of that with TNA. I think they could really enhance their products if they did something like that.
That's very true.
Help their products a lot.
Indeed.
Go live. I think going live is a very important thing for TNA. We see that their shows are like SmackDown. They tape their shows. I think if you went live, it'd be so much. I mean, we saw with SmackDown, it had so much of a better feel live. I think if TNA went live, it would be such a better feeling, and it's their only show of the week. So I think really they really do need to go live if they want. If they want to enhance their product.
Because with the fans who could just read up on the internet, they may choose not to watch TNA, or they may choose to just tune in for some part of it, and it just dragged out the ratings and the viewers. I think spoilers do hurt this show a little bit, and I think if they go live, obviously it'll stop spoilers. People might tune in because, obviously for example, with Raw, the reason why we watch it every week is because we don't know what's going to happen. So very true.
It will just give the show so much of a better feel. If you get it live, get it out of the impact zone, it would be so much better. It just really would. The show itself would feel so much better, and it would feel a lot more like a wrestling show rather than just a cheap tourist attraction, wouldn't it?
I think so too, because I think while TNA is struggling with these ratings and that, it is because of them not being live and spoilers.
That's part of the reason why. There's loads of other reasons why they're not getting ratings, but those are some of the TV reasons we think of, like things like going live. And the next couple of things are to do with like the actual shows themselves. We don't really like the backstage segments, do we? I think if TNA limited their backstage segments to like a couple, I don't mind a couple of interviews, I think it does help the show flow, but not as much as they do sometimes. And the way they do them really pisses me off with the supposed hidden camera, and the way it's just, there's some of the segments drag on way too long, don't they?
I think they need like segments that will build to matches, but not like.
Not long backstage segments where people are like talking to each other. Interview segments, you know.
Yeah, we need stuff like that.
Yeah,
like we get real pointless ones. I can give you examples, but the case is some of them are not needed, so just concentrate on the show itself.
Do you remember the one where Sting was singing "Eye of the Tiger"? It's fucking stupid, wasn't
There's
it?
one when like Sting puts a bird on Bischoff's desk. Eric Young segments.
Oh, fuck
so
that.
See, there's a whole list. So just concentrate on the show itself.
Yeah, and taking those backstage segments out can be linked to our next point, which is giving matches more time on Impact. You know, we get 5 or 6 matches a week. I mean, WWE do this a lot as well. They don't give their matches enough time, I feel, to actually help the matches get over. Really, I mean, you get like max 7 minutes.
There's certain wrestlers that need the time to show off their skills, their abilities, and TNA. What I've realised since I started watching it, they lack that. Yes, they put on okay spots, but the match doesn't get its right amount of time.
Especially in the main event. We've seen main events in TNA Impact Wrestling don't get anywhere near enough time for what they are, like matches.
5 to 10 minutes.
Well, not even 10 sometimes. I mean, you know, it doesn't help with adverts being every 15 minutes, but really would appreciate it if TNA gave us longer matches. Even if there was an advert in between, at least we can get longer matches and, you know, the matches can do more for what they're trying to do in terms of storyline or something. To have them too short, they just can't have any effect. So I think increased match length would be both for WWE and TNA, I think, could be good.
Yeah, it could. Like, definitely TNA, because there's wrestlers there that I think they just not get enough time to do exactly what they set out to do, and there's no build into the match. Like, you don't leave TNA thinking, that was a great match because you got great length. You don't really get to say that much because the match lengths are just not great at all.
If you're not immortal, you don't get the time, brother.
Oh, very true.
So yeah, more match time on Impact Wrestling would definitely help. One thing I feel TNA could do is, because they have quite a big roster, a very good roster in my opinion, but it's also very big, 2 things they could do here to improve it. They could either do 2 shows a week to show, just so they can showcase all of their talent, because we've seen loads of weeks, people are missing here, there and everywhere, like champions and stuff. If they had 2 shows a week, they could showcase everybody. They have Explosion, but that's not really on TV too much, like a Raw, SmackDown. Have 2 shows like that. That's what I think anyway. I think they could do that.
Well, the way you look at TNA, yes, there are a lot of fans who support TNA and like TNA. So if they got it for two days a week, it would definitely get more fans interested, thinking we have wrestling, all the WWE shows as well as 2 shows of TNA. It would definitely do good for the fans. Yeah,
I just think when you have 2 shows a week, you can, if you don't have a like for example on Impact, we see so many segments sometimes where like Beer Money aren't involved or AJ Styles isn't involved. If you have a second show, you can get those guys on there, and it can really, especially help, you know, hype to their pay-per-view, because let's not forget they only have 4 shows a week to hype their pay-per-view, whereas WWE have technically 8. So to give them 2 shows a week would not only do that, but it also help hype their pay-per-views too, because you can get everyone featured every week then that way.
And one thing I will say about this, talk about 2 shows. During some TNA shows, you do see the house show. You see little clips of the house show. I'm thinking that we're not getting to see that. We don't get to see little clips.
Yeah, that's why they're called house shows.
Yeah, but moving it to an actual show,
yeah, I agree.
Then I think it would do great. Then we get to actually see things we don't get to see on house shows.
Yeah, and if TNA don't want to do this 2 shows a week, one thing I think they could do to really help the roster is trim it a little bit. Trim it so that you can feature them prominently. Like, get rid of people you don't really use. Examples. Think of some examples of people that we really don't want to see in TNA. Eric Young.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
Who else? Matt Hardy's obviously gone now. Murphy went. I think a lot of people.
Tag teams are disappearing.
Tag team, yeah, they are disappearing. But so many people, you could trim the roster to a point where you have a set amount of people who you can put on a show.
Oh, talk about trimming. The good thing about TNA is that some of the TNA wrestlers do actually grow and go into WWE. Like, TNA is a stepping stone, so that may trim it eventually, but for now, it has got too much of a big roster, yes.
Yeah, so trimming the roster could definitely be an improvement if they're going to stick with 1 show a week. If they're going to do 2 shows a week, then their roster may be good enough for that, I feel.
Yeah, I do agree with that, yeah.
Okay. One big improvement we also think TNA can make is stop pushing older guys and use older guys instead of putting them in the main event. Use them to put younger guys over, who are essentially the future of your company. Guys like Sting, Hogan,
woo,
and Ric Flair. Yeah, even though I don't really want to see him wrestle anymore. But I mean, just anything there.
Again, like when I heard Sting was getting back, I thought it was going to be something interesting. But him getting too involved in the championship thing, I just thought, no, you took off Anderson quickly and all that, so it's definitely made the older guys be involved in the main events and not the younger guys.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you had guys like Sting and RVD, Hogan. I really wish Flair I really wish they just used him to put over guys like AJ Styles, you know, guys like Bobby Roode, James Storm, you know, talent that TNA has actually nurtured for itself. Crimson, for example, rather than using them like, you know, how they used to use them and have them in the main event scene where they really weren't needed. You know, you need your young guys in there who people can actually get behind and who watch TNA.
It is a bad thing. It's thinking that just because they're old wrestlers that have been in for years, they are still going to be a big draw and make TNA exciting. And we fans want to see the younger wrestlers grow into TNA.
Yeah, and we also want to see, this is another point, TNA talents developing like Crimson and people like that, you know, Robert Roode, James Storm, you know, talents that TNA have groomed for themselves, you know, kind of like WWE have with their talents. You know, we want to see them talents being groomed by TNA, and the only way you're going to really do that sometimes is to have a bigger name and put them over, really, like an older guy.
And sadly, the TNA just don't seem to think that way, because it seems like the guys who've been in it for years, they stay at the top.
Pretty much. The next thing we've got on our list is to do with the main event picture. We want to see guys like Matt Morgan, AJ Styles, you know, guys like that Samoa Joe, guys like that in that main event picture. And at the moment, the main event is very, I don't know, it's very underwhelming in my opinion. Sometimes, you know, when you saw like RVD and Sting, Mr. Anderson is good in there, but I'd love to see guys like AJ Styles, Matt Morgan back in that main event scene. TNA guys.
Well, the Battle for Glory series has given us at least one. But again, there's a whole list there that we're thinking, oh, you could be good in main event. Yeah. So if they do build up their TNA wrestlers more, I look forward to seeing if they do push other wrestlers.
I mean, I think a lot of people would like it better if guys like AJ Styles and Matt Morgan, etc., were in the main event. Mr. Anderson, I think so many people would watch the product if they were. I mean, it gets to the point where, you know, you gotta try and, you know, increase your ratings by trying something new. And even though this isn't new, it's when it's something good that the TNA fans want to see. And if they want to see it, they're going to watch the product.
Very true. I agree with that one.
The Russo overbooking would get rid of. I think, to be honest, TNA need a new creative team. The Russo booking is incessant at times. We've seen the overbooking at No Surrender with the tag team match and the you know, the knockouts match. It's just ridiculous sometimes, isn't it?
And the bad thing about it is that many people complain about Vince Russo and thinking that he's getting too involved in matches that lacks the entertainment of the matches. So I think to get rid of him, clear him off, and get a new creative team, maybe make new surprises and more people interested in the matches. Yeah,
just so TNA can go in a new direction. I mean, they're kind of what they need sometimes, because some of the Russo booking has been really bad, and they really need to change it up. You know, even if it does mean getting a new creative team, get rid of Russo. Really, we've seen that he can get people infused. That's one good thing about Vince Russo. But his continuance in storyline booking isn't greatest, and that's what matters sometimes. So I say, get a new creative team, someone that can really spark some new life into that product.
That's very true. And while we're on the topic of getting rid of people, we spoke about like sort of the older people, and the two examples we're going to name are Hogan and Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, I mean, ever since they came in 2010 and changed, and you know, went 4 sides and everything, the company, even though they're paying out more to like guys like Hogan and Bischoff, haven't increased their ratings. Their ratings have stayed exactly the same. So what they've done for the company hasn't really risen it at all. It's just kept it how it was while just having more expense. So you know, why do you keep to your roots? And if guys like Hogan and Bischoff aren't doing anything for your company, you really need to get rid of them, don't you?
Again, yes, they're taking over, as you can see, in management role, but they're just not actually doing as much justice as maybe TNA thought they would do.
They're not having the effect that they said they would.
No, that's
what I'm basically saying. We want a bit more variation on the TNA Impact Wrestling shows. Like, you know, how many times have we seen Immortal open the show? And it's just like, you know, we want to see something different sometimes, a match or something. So we want a little bit more variation on Impact Wrestling, don't we?
It would be good to have like a wrestler out the blue or wrestler that's got an involvement in a rivalry to be in the opener, to give the show an exciting start or a different start, and then follow on for the rest of the show. I
mean, that's one thing that TNA, you know, I mean, they could do now. I mean, just don't open with Immortal, and that's a good start. That's a good start. I mean, just a little bit more variation in how you do your show, you know. Get Jeff Jarrett off TV. I think that's another thing, isn't it? Because we know that Jeff Jarrett really has no relevance in WWE anymore, kind of like, not WWE, sorry, TNA. Definitely fucking relevance with WWE went 10 years ago. And guys like Hogan. So Please don't put Jarrett on TV. People who really aren't relevant, and people who are trying to steal the spotlight for other people. I fucking hate that about Jeff Jarrett.
Again, Jeff Jarrett is just like Hogan and Bischoff. Don't really put people over. He's just there to show that he's the one who was part of TNA's found and all that stuff. Yeah. So I just think he's needed anymore.
Another thing which is to do with Russo, which I would change, just thought of this now, is stop doing things on free TV that you would have at your pay-per-view.
Championship matches.
Yeah, we've seen championship matches on free TV. We've also seen, remember that whole Mexican America thing with Jeff Jarrett? They could have won the titles of the pay-per-view. Instead, they had to have this whole Jeff Jarrett shit on free TV. It seems like they're going back to WCW, show booking. Stop focusing on ratings, please, and start focusing on pay-per-view hype at times, rather than sacrificing your pay-per-view hype for your TV rating, which is essentially just staying the same, if not going down at points.
Again, that is a good point, because having championship matches change on the nights before just doesn't really give the pay-per-view a chance to get good ratings, so that'd be a big thing, yes.
Or pay-per-view buys, as it's now known. The last point we're going to talk about here is TNA bringing back stuff that made it unique. When I say things like the X Division, for example, it will probably never be as good as it was back, in the early eras. But they're putting effort into it, which is good. It's nice to see the X Division making a return and being prominently featured on TV now. If you watched earlier this year, you'd have been really disappointed with the X Division.
Well, we're getting new wrestlers in. Yeah. We're actually getting more than one X Division match on a show. So it's actually giving that a big show in their shows. I like that.
I think TNA could do really well. Maybe bringing back some things that made it unique. Things like King of the Mountain. Every year they had King of the Mountain at Slammiversary, and that was always a very good match. And it made that pay-per-view very unique in a way.
Cool. I like that.
And the King of the Mountain match is a very entertaining match. I really don't see why TNA got rid of that, in my opinion. It was a great match. I mean, you've seen a couple, haven't you?
They were quite fun to watch, and they definitely were something different to what you've seen in other wrestling shows.
Yeah, you have to put the ladder on the hook, not take it off. Sorry, not the ladder, the belt on the hook. Yeah. There we go. And also, I'm not sure you agree with this, but I kind of think this. When you watch TNA back in the old days, they were really made unique by their six-sided ring, and their X Division could really flourish that way when they had the six-sided ring because of the way the ring was structured. I think TNA could really do something and make their product unique in a way from WWE by really bringing back the six-sided ring, which a lot of TNA fans would want to see. You, on the other hand, don't like the six-sided ring.
With the six-sided ring, if it was like a special thing for one pay-per-view, have that as a big draw or something special for that match. That pay-per-view, I would say go for it.
They did.
If they go with that, I'm fine with it. I wouldn't want to see it every week.
Okay, well, this comes from a guy who's watched a lot of old school TNA, so that's why I feel anyway. But we have different opinions on that. But the opinion that matters to us most is the opinion of you guys out there. If you have any thoughts on how TNA can improve, if you agree or disagree, or you want to elaborate on some of the points we made, make sure you get them in that comment section down below. I'm sure we've missed out some stuff which you guys think. So.
And myself, I've not really been a fan of TNA. I'm still trying to get into it properly. But there are still some wrestlers that I think need to be used better. But anyway, just share your thoughts about TNA and the improvements in the comment section below.
Yeah.
And that has been it from Mr. Parkin.
And I'm going to do this one, NJ. Oh, it's MJ! Hey!
What's up?
Yeah. Make sure you stick around for our TNA Impact Wrestling review tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and goodbye.